Hello and welcome. This is my entry for the Calport Woodcraft Build a Chair Competition 2022.
First of all, I set out finding some long pieces that I could use for the forelegs. Once I've found them, I cut them down to size and then ripped them in two, giving me 4 legs, 2 that are slightly longer at the back. Next came the first mishap of the day whilst trying to clean up my legs. Should have really seen that coming. Once I'd gone and got some clamps and clamped my work down, I got to cleaning up all the sides. I'd love a planer to do this, but for now it's just a belt sander. I quickly moved on to take some measurements from another bar stool I made last year and mark them out onto my cross pieces before going back in and cutting and ripping them down to the correct sizes. For the joinery on this project, I use pocket holes. Here I am just making some holes with the jig before gluing and screwing the 4 legs together with all the cross pieces. With it being such a nice day out, I decided to make a little bit of a makeshift workbench out of a couple of pallets and a sheet of MDF. It's not perfect, but it's better than sweating away in the workshop.
There we go, about halfway through the build now. Got the seat in the back to put on, some routing to round over the edges, and then some finish.
I quickly moved on to plugging in pocket holes. For this, I just placed some glue into the hole before tapping in some dowel and then later removing the excess. Now it's into the scrap bin. I've got some pallet wood that's in decent nick, so I thought I'd use this for the seat and the backrest. To make sure everything was the same size, I set up a little stop block on my mitre station, which just gave me quick and easy repeatable cuts. Here I am, putting the lens on top and just going for a dry fit, marking out where I need to notch out. Then came mistake number 2 of the day. I somehow managed to knock off the camera and lose a load of footage of me gluing things down. The 2 end pieces needed little notches taken out of them for where the back legs were, so I quickly went over to my bandsaw and chopped them out before getting on with the sanding. First I went to 80 grit and then up to 150 before rounding over all the edges.
Right, we're about halfway now. Done most of the frame, that's all sanded. Just need to chop out my plugs and sand them. Then I've got the seat and the backrest to do. Add a little bit of finish, I'll be there. But first, I'm going to have to stop for a brew. So I'm going to try just bring this down an angle, this backrest, just to try and make it look a bit more natural than being so square.
Once I'd tapered off the seat back, I moved on to a bit of sanding and then routing and putting a round over all the way around the chair. I then went back over with some sandpaper on a sanding block and just made sure everything was nice and smooth. Here I've moved on to the back piece where I've glued it down and then nailed it in place with my nail gun. The final part was to paint. Normally I'd go for a natural wood finish, however I wanted the chair to match my barbecue area, which has got a grey trim, so I used some of the same paint. The finished chair out on the decking up to the bar, all made from scraps and materials saved from other jobs.
There we have it, it's all finished. Quite pleased with how it's turned out, it's nice and sturdy. Painted it the same colour as my bar top. I'm very pleased with how it's come out. Time for a brew. Cheers.